The crash of oars against the waves, the cry of seabirds circling overhead, and the sudden, chilling sight of dragon-prowed ships appearing out of the morning mist. For centuries, these images haunted the imagination of medieval Europe. The Vikings, seafarers from Scandinavia, were not merely raiders but harbingers of terror, reshaping kingdoms, economies, and faith itself. The reality of Viking raids was far harsher than legend, and it left scars that echo through history. They came from the rugged coasts of Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, born into a world of long winters, restless seas, and limited farmland. In the late 8th century, their longships first appeared along the British and Irish shores. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records in the year 793. In this year, fierce, foreboding omens came over the land of the Northumbrians, and the harrowing inroads of heathen men made lamentable havoc in the Church of God in Holy Island, Lindisfarne. That event, the raid on Lindisfarne, marked the beginning of an age of fear. These were not random strikes. The Vikings studied the coastlines, tides, and weaknesses of their enemies. Their ships were engineering marvels, shallow-drafted, swift, and able to sail up rivers deep into the heart of Europe. No monastery, no village, and no city along a navigable waterway was safe. To a farmer or monk there was no warning. One morning the horizon was clear, the next it was filled with sails. The build-up to these raids was rooted in desperation and ambition. Scandinavia was fragmented, its chiefs vying for power, and wealth was scarce. Silver, slaves, and glory could be found abroad. The Norse faith itself celebrated warrior culture, where to die in battle was to be chosen for Valhalla. Yet the raids were not only about faith or survival, they were about opportunity. Europe's monasteries held treasures, golden chalices, jeweled reliquaries, manuscripts, that were both sacred and shockingly undefended. And unlike castles, these holy sites rarely had walls. The climax of the Viking raids came with shocking brutality. At Lindisfarne, monks were slaughtered at the altar. At Paris in 845, Ragnar Lodbrok, a semi-legendary leader, led a fleet up the Seine and laid siege to the city itself. The Frankish king Charles the Bald paid thousands of pounds of silver to make them leave. This payment, the Danegeld, became a grim reality across kingdoms. Rulers often found it cheaper to buy off the invaders than to fight them. In 865, the so-called Great Heathen Army landed in England. It was not a raid, but a conquest. Led by the sons of Ragnar, it swept across the land, toppling kingdoms and seizing York. The dream of a united Anglo-Saxon England nearly died before it began. The aftermath was profound. Communities devastated by raids never recovered. Villages were abandoned. Survivors carried tales of horror, families enslaved, children taken, churches burned. Archaeology reveals layers of ash in coastal settlements, evidence of fire and destruction. Yet paradoxically, Viking attacks forced kingdoms to adapt. Alfred the Great of Wessex reorganized his realm into fortified towns called burhs. The Carolingian Empire experimented with river defenses and new military levies. What began as catastrophe became the crucible of stronger states. The legacy of Viking raids stretches far beyond fear. The Norse carved deep into Europe's political and cultural landscape. They founded Dublin, York, and trading hubs along the Russian rivers. They integrated with local societies, becoming rulers, settlers, and even Christians. In Normandy, Norse raiders settled permanently, giving rise to the Normans, who would later conquer England in 1066. The genetic and cultural imprint of the Vikings is still found across the British Isles, France, and Eastern Europe. Their sagas preserved not only tales of gods and heroes, but memories of voyages that stitched the North Atlantic together, from Greenland to Byzantium. Yet in modern memory, Viking raids are often romanticized. Horn-helmeted warriors, fearless explorers. The truth was far grimmer. To the people of Lindisfarne, Paris, or Hamburg, the Vikings were not symbols of adventure but of terror. Their reality was smoke on the horizon, the scream of steel on flesh, and the despair of seeing sacred places defiled. Still, from this crucible of destruction came resilience, adaptation, and the reshaping of medieval Europe. Today, the harsh reality of Viking raids reminds us that history is written in both blood and survival. The Vikings were destroyers, but also catalysts of change, accelerating the birth of new kingdoms and cultures. To understand their legacy is to confront both sides of the blade, the brilliance of their seamanship and the brutality of their violence. This episode has been brought to life through countless hours of research, narration, and historical care. If you value the effort behind creating immersive history, consider supporting high-quality storytelling so that the voices of the past continue to echo in the present.